Hey, I'm Michael Linowitz, and I work with the BD section at D'Alessio Law Group, and welcome to the fourth installment of our music licensing sector. Obviously, this is in honor of Lorraine being a keynote speaker at Canadian Music Week, which is happening next week, so let's get excited. Today, we're going to cover what is called the performance license. So, in a performance license, let's say you bought a CD 10 years ago, or a record or a music file offline. You own that file. That is your file to use. However, that is your file to use for personal use or a close group of friends and or family. The moment that you use that file in a public setting for a large group of people, it becomes a public performance, in which case it requires a performance license. Now, where do you buy this performance license? As we've discussed before, this you will get from a PRO, such as BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC. Now, a performance license is probably the most common form of licensing today. Any broadcast of an artist's work requires this performance license. So businesses that generally use this would be radio, TV stations, and venues such as clubs, bars, restaurants, coffee shops, cruise ship lines. All of these corporations, businesses require a performance license. Now, let's say you're an artist and you plan on playing at a coffee shop, or you're a DJ and you plan on playing at a nightclub. Don't worry so much, because chances are these venues have already covered it. It is not the artist's responsibility. That's generally because these venues are the ones profiting off of the music being played. So while that is the case, it's always good to do your due diligence just to make sure you don't get in trouble. Funny enough, even putting someone on hold over a phone call requires a performance license as well. So the next thing to realize is, let's say you are a venue, is whether or not you want a playlist of songs that you pick out yourselves, or you want to just be able to run a whole library of songs without really worrying about which one is being played. This is when a blanket license comes into place. A blanket license, which can be bought from each of these PROs, allows you to play these songs from the library as long as you want, as many times as you want. However, the only issue in this situation would be that each PRO has a certain library, has different songs. So if you get a blanket license with one PRO, that means that there are certain songs you won't be able to play. The best part about a blanket license, though, is that there is no limit, and that it's generally one payment within the year. And this is often used in TV and radio stations. On top of that, then you have streaming services like Pandora, Spotify. These kind of businesses would allow you to get a monthly payment so that you can play the music in your coffee shop or your restaurant. Overall, it's good to be careful. It's good to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, because some of these PROs do have scouts. They have people going out undercover to make sure that their music is not being used illegally. So because the music business is a business, money needs to be paid. It's always better to pay for the licenses than to reap the consequences, which can end up being way more expensive. So I guess that wraps it up for music licensing. And next week we will be interviewing Paul Farberman, one of our music experts here at D'Alessio Law Group. And tune in next week for Lorraine at Canadian Music Week, which I'm sure she will kill at. And thank you. Be good.